So in this video, I want to show you how to set up appointment links or appointment invitations, as SystmOne calls them. If you've not yet discovered them, they are an absolute game changer in terms of reducing calls into reception and allowing patients to book their own appointments online. Some recent developments from SystmOne have made them even better than when they were first launched. So let me show you how to set them up and configure them. So first off, we need to go to Organization Preferences, and it's under Appointments and Patient Appointment Invitation. This practice has already got a few set up, but we want to add some more. Now, when we come here, we can see the only things we've got basically are COVID and flu. So we can do select another option and see what else is available at this particular practice. Now, this will depend on the groups that the practice is in and what's been set up there. And again, there's not very much available. And this can be a real limiting factor, but there is a way around it. So if we can't find what we want, and in this case we're looking for a HCA 10-minute invitation type, we need to come out of this and go to our configured lists. Now, configured lists in SystmOne, let me just pause there and re-sort the screen, one moment. Okay, so configured lists give you a lot of power to choose things like what letter types people can use, all sorts of things. The slightly frustrating thing with them is that you can normally only choose what's published from organisation groups, which limits your ability to do stuff. The way around this, if you've not already done it, and this practice has, which is great, is to create your own organisation group that has only your practice in. If need be, I'll do a separate video for that. Once you've done that, you've then got the power to create new options. So it will normally default to showing only lists that contain permitted options. Go on appointments and it only shows that. If we untick this and go to the same place, we've now got appointment invitation type, and we can now put a new option. And in here, we can put whatever we want. So in this case, we want HCA 10-min. I can pick an icon, but most of the time it will say someone's already picked something in the system and change it anyway, and it's not particularly important. So let's OK that. If we now go back to the setup and organization preferences, I may need to restart SystmOne for this actually. Let's have a look. So it's not there. If I pick configure list, bingo, it is there now. So I can add that across. At some point for the practice, it's worth taking out the ones they're not using. That's because then on the drop down, staff then know what's there is usable. Anyway, okay, that. So now I can pick HCA 10 minutes. And then this is the bit that's really powerful. So it used to be quite complicated to set this up, and you couldn't restrict to anything like as much as you can now. So you can now put rota types. You've got your list of rota types, and you can pick, say, I don't know, extended access HCA. I don't know this practice and exactly how they do it, so it's up to them. Perhaps session as well. You can do slot types. So for this, we want it to include blood, certainly. For what this has got in mind, this is going to be for use for LTC invites for patients who need to see HCA. You can restrict it to individual clinicians. That's a good idea if you've got different skill mixes within your team. The downside of that is that if people come and go, you're going to need to keep remembering to change this. Restricting to teams is probably a slightly better option, because you may well have a team that's called HCA or nurses or whatever, but again, you may not have set that up yet. Anyway, once that's configured, OK that, and then OK. The thing I'd recommend as well is on a test patient, text the link, put your own mobile phone in the patient's details, text yourself a link, try and book, and check that what you can see is roughly what you expect to see and what you want it to. I have had some frantic calls from practices where they've sent out a few hundred links and then realised they weren't quite configured rightly, and of course then patients are busy phoning up. So it's worth testing it and getting it right, but once you have, then it's good to go. And that is about it.